maintaining 1 meter apart, you and I. So I'll try to take off my mask.
You can hear me, right?
I can, definitely.
We have to be cognizant. We cannot be saying one thing and be acting differently. So
yeah.
we will maintain our mask, and we hope that we will be audible enough.
It's all right.
And that our people are going to hear us as we engage.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Dear viewers, you can follow this conversation on our official Facebook page, which is Ask Muvi. And also, if you go to YouTube, you are also televising this program. And also, indeed, the Topstar Decoder 104 will be able to follow all those comments that you'll be sending through our social media page. Let's find out. Now, again today, the 27th of July, there is another statement that has just come from the Human Rights Commission as well, depicting or citing the two political parties, and these are the ruling PF and also the opposition UPND as the most culprits in as far as perpetuating violence is concerned. So we get to dive into that and find out immediately to ask the questions. Why is the UPND one of those political parties that really have been causing havoc in this country? Mr. Bwalya, how do you find the pressure in perpetuating violence in this country?
Before I respond to that question, Innocent, allow me to ask you and the Zambian people, how are you? Mulishani. Now, this is a question that people take for granted. And these days I'm very particular. So nganami pushati mulishani. I'm asking you, mwikele shani kunganda.
Right.
Abana balishani. Musheyi mwena bamayo kunganda nga bwacho oluchero. Mulesa kama na efu abana baleri, bala adienshi. When you are knocking off, are you worried? Bushema wala kwa ataka ndarama kakushta bread. Bushenga mudimisepera. Are you worried about your opportunities to access higher education? Nangudi nemo akwate shuko mwasambirira. Are you absolutely confident that you are going to get the job that you want? And muba nurse and muba doctor, are you absolutely certain that after training you'll be able to go onto the world and do the noble job of saving lives? Bushe natukwata imitimufpatala muba ntuwakwanesa. Bushenga ni mweba maana batata mwalibombele chano. Are you able to get your pension benefits on time? What about those bus drivers and taxi drivers? Zinga mumu ikereshani mudama bus stations nama taxi ranks emu wale mitaka nya emu shachela chela bushiku, simply because you are not seen to be aligned with the party in power. So this is a question which we all must answer as part of engaging in an honest discussion. How are we? Badabonsa badelanda ti adebwelerapo mulebe pushana bena mushiba nemwekereshani mayanda eno, because the problems that I am facing as Anthony Bwalya, I want to believe that it is exactly the same problems that you, Mr. Perry, are worried about as a journalist. You are also worried about how much you get paid. You are worried whether or not whether or not it will be enough to meet your rental requirements. The same questions and worries that you are grappling with, they are the same questions and worries which a policeman in this country is worried about. They're worried about their job security. Maybe their job is going to be taken over by cadres. We have policemen and women who are qualified. They have high qualifications, but they cannot be promoted because government has no ability to promote them. It's the same thing with soldiers, servicemen at that highest level. But they cannot be paid their pension benefits. It's the same worries that we share as Zambians. So this is a Zambian discussion. I hate these days when I speak to be associated as one who's propagating a UPND agenda, because this is no longer a UPND agenda. This is a national agenda. When you are making your introductory remarks, you are saying you ask the question, who's going to carry the day? Nibani bakawina ukusala. Mwati usheni ba UPND, usheni abalete kapalinda kai na ngunyabo bambi. And in my mind, I was very, very clear. There can and there should only be one winner in 2 weeks' time. The people. Imwe na ine na bina Zambia bonse who are worried about the future of their children. Fiali onse nende ipusha shinonshi kubushe imwe na ine ba innocent. Gachako bati tuwalifuile, God forbid. Abana besu bakekala shani. Are you sure that you, your children, will be able to go to school in this country if you died today? I'm not sure. I have a 4-year-old son, and I'm terrified for him. Am I sure that Leilunga Nafwa, mwana wandinga akuna, he'll be able to get a job in this country without connections? Because this is the kind of country that we are living in today. You have to know somebody. This is why they parastatals, they will tell you, 10 years with qualifications, no contract. Kada isafirero bamupere nchito na contract. Bamba no kumfolesha mpia isha ifudira. It's the same thing with councils. Nomba chalo cha msango shani. So, ukwisa kwandirero kuno, my coming here by innocent, it is to remind the Zambian people, you inclusive, that this is our election. Forget the UPND. If we don't deliver this election, we'll come back here and we'll look each other in the eye and say, well, we did not deliver the election. Are our lives better? For the past 10 years, we have been hoping for a better life. Are we honestly better off today than we were in 2011? Are we honestly better off? Ngamulibadi mi, nimoba farmer, you want to put seed into the ground. Are you better off today because you are buying a bag of fertilizer at 800 kwacha? Because of government corruption. There are no two ways about it. Are you better off? Okay? So these are the kind of things that we need to be thinking about, not as members of political parties, but as citizens. And even when you raise the issue that usheba UPND mulasekera mokuleta ifyongo, violence, ulubodi. Let me tell you this, for innocent. This election is not about violence. Abena Zambia na abanaka.
Right.
Na abanaka. And this is why every time the question of violence comes up, Abena Zambia bala furwa nganshi. Because those of us within the political arena, every time we pass upon an opportunity to engage the Zambian people, no kubepusha, ushemayo, mwikeresha npanganda. Tuambo kuladete chimfulunganya. Zambians get annoyed with us as politicians. Okay? Now, I will give you the side of the story of the UPND. And this is not abdicating responsibility. Okay? When you look at the report that has been issued today, I haven't read it in its entirety, but I'll tell you that the most violent party, when you look at the numbers, it's our colleagues in government. And I can explain those numbers to you.
What are those numbers?
What it means. Every time there are spats of violence, wherever they prop up, we know who the aggressors are. Okay? Now, that is no excuse. We have always told our people, the number one responsibility to protect you and I, not as members of the UPND, but as Zambian citizens, that responsibility rests with the police. We always say that. The police know exactly who the aggressors are. We can go on and on giving examples where the UPND has been provoked by our colleagues in government. And it is not just the UPND. Members of other political parties have also been provoked and attacked by those in government. But we always raise caution when we respond to this issue, because we only have one protector in this country. It is the police. If the police are doing their job and they seriously go out and clamp down on the criminals, they know them. They know who's arming them. They know where their bases are. Go and fish them out. A group of them was hounded out a few days ago. They were found with drugs and weapons. They know who these people are. These people do not just perpetrate violence against members of other political parties. They perpetrate violence against innocent members of the public and members of their own political parties. They do that. Now, in order for us to put a conclusive end to this issue, it's important that we all take collective responsibility for it. We must all say no to violence because it does not add an ounce of value to our collective lives. How does violence change the price of mealie meal? It doesn't. How does violence ensure that you and I get the jobs that we want? It doesn't. Does it ensure that our mothers, the pensioners, the fathers, pensioners get their pension benefits discharged? No, it doesn't. Does it make better the conditions of work and service for our civil servants? No. So, in receiving that report, we are saying to ourselves, colleagues, we have a responsibility as much as the next person to make sure that this does not crop up in amongst ourselves and we don't export it to other organizations. But we want to encourage our men and women in uniform that we can put an end to political violence if we really are committed to it.
How best, let me just
do your
with one or two questions,
impartially.
Mr. Bwalya. How best, maybe it could be a man with the final solution, maybe final answer on how this political violence can be kept. You know, because sometimes I personally, I think I also feel boring to be talking about the same things because from 2016, this is the message we've been talking about. These are the talks or discussions we've had on this program, where each time we talk about political violence and which political parties, you know, at loggerheads, it's your political party, the UPND, as well as the Patriotic Front. You know, different analysts have come here. Even you, before actually you were appointed as a spokesperson to President Hakainde Hichilema, you used to come here. You know, we've been debating about these issues to say the PF and the UPND, they seems to be entertaining this political violence. Until now, just a few months ago, or should I say, a month ago, your political party and the PF, you were suspended from campaigning in Lusaka. You talk about Mpulungu and the other areas, on account that you were engaging yourselves in political violence. And what happened? You cried foul together with the PF as well, and the other people, your sympathizers and the sympathizer to the Patriotic Front, saying these two political parties, or the PF is not a violent political party. All right? Your members again came here saying we are not, or the UPND is not a violent political party. All right? Again, there's another investigation that has been carried out by the Human Rights Commission, an independent commission or body entity, that has again pointed out or singled out the two political parties, you and the PF. So really, how would you distance yourself from this issue?
You are a Zambian citizen, as much as I am. But better still, you are a journalist. Yeah. The MMD were in power since 1991, up to 2011. Do you remember a time when the political environment in this country under the MMD was so violent and so charged compared to what it is now? No, but do you? The political environment in this country has never been as violent as it is now. Violence only became part of the core political
violence has always been there.
Yes, but when you when you look at it in relative terms,
right?
Can you compare the level of militarized violence that we're seeing now,
right,
to what we used to witness under the MMD when they were in government? No. This points to one thing. Those who are in power and in government at the moment, they are looking to leverage violence as a tool to terrorize, intimidate, and frighten you and I into submission. They did it in 2016 when they overran polling stations here in Lusaka. They sent cadres. They terrorized polling stations. And that is how they disturbed the balance of the vote. And they have continued to muscle up and arm their members with weapons of war and murder. They do it. It's just that some of us have literally just said, look, if you're going to have to kill me, just kill me. But I will not lie down and watch you destroy this country and the future of my son. I will not allow you to do that.
Of course, you are very much protective to your children.
So what I'm saying...
You're very much protective to your children.
So what I'm saying...
You as leaders from the PF as well as leaders from the UPND.
So the point that I'm making...
You are using other people's children.
So the point that I'm making...
That's how sad it is.
So the point that I'm making, by innocent, is that the culture of militarized violence has heightened after our colleagues in government assumed power, because again, they are looking to leverage violence as a means to hold on to power.
Right.
Okay? That That is what they use to frighten and terrorize you and I. But the Zambian people are saying it's not going to happen. And in all of the incidences that you can cite, you can go to Mandevu, you can go to Kitwe, you can go to Chingola, you can go to Mpulungu. All the incidences of violence that you can point to, the opposition were provoked by those in power. Now, when you're being attacked, and the people are supposed to be there to protect you, the way that the police are supposed to be there, what are you supposed to do? So in the middle of all that, altercations ensue. And the story that comes out is always that this political party was fighting with that political party.
Exactly.
No one.
Our report from the Human Rights Commission is not indicating to say the UPND, they are always provoked or they defend themselves. They are saying you are the two political parties that are violent.
And again,
so we're saying here.
And I'm going to point to you to the trends of political violence in this country.
Yeah.
We had the MMD in power. You never saw the kind of violence that we're seeing today. People now are being pushed to the edge of reason, where now they're beginning to say, look, we really have a job to protect ourselves. The police are not going to, because the police are being terrorized themselves. The police are being attacked on the job by cadres of the ruling party. This is on the record. These are people who now literally have taken over the police service. So the police cannot even engage them because they're also terrified of losing their jobs. So cadres can come here and attack you and I. It's not that the police don't want to protect us. They want to protect us. But in the course of discharging their job, they will offend the cadres, the sensibilities of the cadres. Then the cadres will go and tell a government minister, a police is going to lose their job. We have a police officer who did his job. I believe it was in Sesheke. Where is he now? Retired in national interest. Many of them have been retired in national interest. So this is part of those problems and issues that you and I and the rest of the Zambian citizens must walk into the ballot and go and say no to. We must put an end to violence. And the only way to do that right now is to go to the ballot and change government. Then you and I can look the UPND government of President Hakainde in the eye and say, look, we have gotten rid of the monster that used to terrorize us. Can you now normalize the political environment so that even those members of the party that were going to kick out of power in August, they will also be free to roam the streets with their regalia, freely being able to express themselves. Today, you and I we can't put on our regalia and walk into certain places around town. We are going to get lynched. We are going to get beaten. Okay?
And this is a trend again. No. We have seen it in your perceived strongholds. For example, if you are someone is maybe from a PF as well, we've seen videos, where someone is being, harassed in your perceived stronghold.
We saw those incidences, and we asked the police to investigate those incidences.
Yes,
we have always,
and that's where we are. This what forms now our conversation this evening, because it appears, Mr. Bwalya, that your deeds as the UPND, a political party that is claiming to be more like the Messiah to the people of Zambia, to the challenges of Zambians, is also behaving somehow maybe with the Patriotic Front, which are the PF which has allowed its cadres to be in the bus stations, the PF that has allowed its cadres to be in the markets collecting, money that is supposed to be collected by the council. Again, if you go to your strongholds, you see again your political party cadres as well managing these bus stations. Yes, you are looking at me. I will also look at you to say, yes, these trends are happening. And I've hosted some of your leaders here. I've questioned them here. There's some things. So really, your deeds or your behaviors, it's like they're the same from the PF. So I can give another example that the people that are working in the PF today, yesterday they were working with you in the UPND. Okay, the same people that were saying these are perceived criminals. For example, you gave an example of a grouping that was arrested a few days ago. That group, for example, over the Kalimanshi was in your camp as well. From the PF in 2016, he came to work with you as a UPND when he knew that that was a perceived, character who is full of violence. But again, you embraced him when he came to the UPND. Later on, again, he went back to the PF and named them. Some of them, the people like the GBM we talk about, these are the leaders that were in the PF, criticizing you when they were in the ruling party. Again, at some point, he came to the UPND, you embraced them, he continued again attacking the PF, telling the people of Zambia to say this is a failed regime or a failed administration of President Edgar Lungu. Today again, they're going back to the PF, telling the people of Zambia to say, don't vote for the UPND. So you can see that people that will shift camp from the PF coming to the UPND, they'll be received, they'll be given powerful positions. Again, from the UPND, again, they'll go back to the PF, given powerful positions. These two political parties, really, the deeds, they seem to be the same.
So let me begin.
How would you defend that?
So let me begin by addressing the first issue that you raised, the issue of cadres in markets. As far as the UPND is concerned, and as far as President Hakainde Hichilema is concerned, there is no basis for cadres controlling activities in markets. There's no basis.
But they are there in strongholds.
For us, and I will get to that.
Great.
For us, we absolutely believe that all bus stations and markets must be under the control of local councils.
Right.
That is our fundamental belief. So,
and the belief is just a belief.
So, and that is what is going to inform our chain and line of action as we implement policy around how markets and bus stations should be managed. Because we believe that that is a huge and sizable source of revenue for local councils. We believe that all markets and bus stations must be managed for the benefit of all our citizens, irrespective of what your political affiliation is. So if we talk about yo intercity yaba UPND, forget it. And President Hakainde Hichilema has been very, very clear. If there are cadres in the UPND who think that after government changes, that is not going to happen. Because in intercity, they have a PFEO. UPND. It is for all of us. But we've also indicated that there should and there will always be a productive role which young men and women should and will be able to play in the manner that our markets and bus stations are going to be run. For example, there will be a need for security services around our markets and bus stations. There will be a need for cleaning services around our markets and bus stations. So we believe that if you can band together young men and women forming small companies and enterprises that are delivering security services, that are providing cleaning services to our market, they also get something out of it, they get paid a fair wage, we think that that will be a far much better method of managing our markets. That will happen in Lusaka as much as it is going to happen in any market across this country, whether it's in Southern Province or in Wapula and so on and so forth. So the things that we say, we're not saying them because there's a different government in power. You and I will come here and ask me this question once the people deliver a change of government. And I will say exactly the same thing. I will say exactly the same thing. There will be
failed to demonstrate now.
Listen, there will be no preferential treatment. There will be no preferential treatment rendered to members of the UPND or cadres, as far as other people are concerned. That is never going to happen. And when you talk about that the same thing is happening in UPND strongholds, to be honest with you, I would be glad for you or any other journalist to go to Mazabuka and bring us the evidence where UPND cadres are controlling markets to an extent that they are charging mobile money booth operators 100 kwacha per month just to have a mobile money booth in a market. Because this is what is happening. Muno Lusaka. Now, Mukatondo Street, Mudia. Sometime last week, I spoke with mobile money booth operators. Badi injewa. Bala badi pidishama 100 kwacha. Pamuinshi. By PF cadres. Munamu inamudi. It is the same thing. Nabarabi nabatanti kafe. Munabamu abashitisho sapato. ababiro tusapato bade abachite tunkoloko to have a space ka table mu demonstrate mu you have to pay PF cadres. Now you're a journalist, you go to Southern Province and pick an area in Southern Province where we can demonstrate by verifiable interviews that UPND cadres are charging people to have space in markets, space in bus stations, whilst a legitimate council is sitting. I bet you that is a perception that has been created by those in government to justify the criminal activities and illegalities they are committing in markets.
I'll chip in another question because I thought of bringing that to your attention, and this is a kind of talks that we've had here, in which I remember when I did host Honorable Charles Kakoma back then when he was in the UPND. I went to the extent of playing a clip that we did of an investigation story coming from Livingston, where your members and one of your member who is a leader, I don't know if he's still serving as a chairperson, you know, confessing, speaking loudly to say this market it was given to us to be operating as UPND,
by who?
You know, by the council, of course.
So again,
I want to move out from this because I think it would take much time. So I brought this issue to say, or to challenge you to say, possibly your deeds or your claims that if you form government, you are going to be different from the PF might not be as real as you think, because you say that it's a belief, and a belief, I can also believe that tomorrow I'll buy a chopper, which I can't buy it, you know. And the PF again, when they come here, each time they come here, they refuse to say we don't have people managing bus stations and markets, and yet when we go to investigate stories, they are being unearthed. But anyway, we'll leave it there. Let's move on to another issue. Again, your political party, in line with the political violence, again, we're still talking about, it's been accused of, training over 60,000 other people's children. These are men and women who have been turned into a militia group to destabilize this year's elections.
That's nonsense.
That's according to
I don't know why we have an appetite in this country to have nonsensical conversations, to be honest. I don't understand why. Of all the problems that the Zambian people are facing, the PF have brought too many problems on the Zambian people. And an individual, a political party cadre, just goes live on TV, on radio, and says the UPND are training 60,000 militiamen. Are you crazy? You can't do that. And I'm surprised that even the police have picked up on that issue. Investigating what? There's nothing to investigate. The people are armed with weapons, military uniforms, police uniforms, are in the party in power. They know that. They know that. Finofoturera Ndaba innocent, and I hate to digress. You're a journalist. We all saw the report which was published by the Diggers newspaper, where a vessel was intercepted at sea bearing a Zambian flag, and on that vessel it was suspected to be carrying illegal weapons. Illegal weapons. A vessel bearing a Zambian flag, yours and my name, on that vessel, was carrying illegal weapons. And up to date, yours and my government have not told us where those weapons were going. They have not told us. They have given us the identities of the men who were on board that vessel, but they have not told us the connection to this government or individuals in this government. So they are saying we are training militiamen. Meanwhile, a vessel bearing a Zambian flag is being intercepted, allegedly carrying illegal weapons. Where are they going? Your government has not told you. My government has not told me that. And we're all silent about it. And yet we have a political party cadre making allegations that the UPND is training 60,000 militiamen. That's crazy. What's the basis for that? You and I should be asking questions, where were those weapons going? Where were those weapons going? Because that report is there. Even we understand that the PS Home Affairs confirmed that they provided a response, giving the identities of the people who were on board that ship. So how do we know? Maybe those weapons were headed to this country. How do we know? We don't know. So those who are perpetrating violence, those who who are propagating the culture of arming cadres with military weapons, they're the ones now are crying out loud, saying other people are arming cadres. The UPND has no capacity to train militiamen in this country. We have no capacity, and we have no appetite. We have no appetite for such nonsense. Because power in this country is not and has never been taken and will never be taken by violence. It will never happen. It is the people who give power. So those who are training militiamen in this country, if they are there, they're kidding themselves. It will never work. It will never work.
According to Mr. Mwanza, is saying that
again,
you seem to have lost these elections, and the only option for now remaining for you is to cause violence.
And let me tell you, and let me tell you
that as an excuse.
Let me tell you, President Lungu knows that he's lost the election. Maybe the guy you're referring to doesn't know, but the president knows that he's lost the election. He knows that he's lost the election.
What's
okay?
your...
No, and again...
Where are you basing your...
And again, he knows that he's lost the election.
Right.
President Lungu can't win an election in this country. He can't. He knows it. Now, I would advise the PF to start preparing for an amicable exit. Because the people of Zambia have resoundingly indicated to them. Don't even believe those fake opinion polls that you're seeing. Don't even believe that. Right. There is no sane Zambian. There's no sane Zambian who's going to go and vote for the PF. And then you go and vote for the same government that has brought hunger and poverty into your home? Would you do that? Because your salary is too low, inflation is too high, or your pension benefits have not been paid. And then we're foot or wake shop. Niwe nasi niwe doctor walia kuskuru walisambirira bati nchitota ukwete. Are you serious in your mind? Now then your job has been taken over by a cadre. You have qualifications but you can't be employed. You can't be promoted. Uli musoja walibomba wino but they can't pay your pension benefits and your retirement. Why would you want this regime to come back? So every sober-minded Zambian has decided it is time up for these colleagues. But they are the ones who are getting public contracts at exorbitant prices. International schools. Can your child and mine afford an international school by innocent? Universities abroad. Can your child and mine afford a university abroad? It can never happen. If we live on a hand-to-mouth basis, that is the lucky ones. We are the lucky ones. But the majority of Zambians are truly, truly suffering. Panopo mfikiri innocent. I honestly don't believe now I need to explain to a Zambian what must happen in 2 weeks' time. No. I don't think I need to explain. Because you are living the experience. So when I say President Lungu knows he has lost the election, that is exactly what I mean. Because I'm speaking as a Zambian. Forget the UPND. Once everything is said and done, I go home, I close the doors, I have my son here. He needs an education, he needs health care. Are those things possible in this country? Gana kuchipatala imitita kodi. Ganshkwete ya kushito umuti umwana life wilafi. What kind of country is that? Over the past few weeks, our neighbor died in Ndola because oxygen ran out. Oxygen ran out. Do they know what it means to lose a loved one because oxygen aipo? Do they understand that?
And as your party, you've repeatedly talked about, emphasized the need to have a better economy if you formed government in 20...
That is...
I mean, after the
yes,
August elections.
Yes, and I agree with you.
That has been your priority agenda.
I agree with
think I've been following you very well in your manifesto, as well as each time you appear in the media.
Yes.
All right. But there are other people out there that are watching us right now, and some of your critics that are saying UPND's message is not clear. And at the moment where we are, more especially this time around, 2026, 2021, you have completely no message, because most of the things that you talked about in 2008, about some are there coming back to 2011 and to 2016 to now, have already been worked on by the Patriotic Front. You talked about the issue to do with you were riding on the issue of the economy, the kwacha that kept on, somersaulting, collapsing, and the like. Today, the kwacha is getting, wet on a daily basis, and here comes UPND leader Kende Hichilema claiming ownership over the appreciation of the kwacha.
Imwana muwewe na Zambia mwali kwa tomulomo. Nekeni miyevenepo. You see, for the past 10 years, our colleagues in government have had grand opportunities to do so many things. They've never done it. Lero lida kwa shala utushikufio tunono before you and I decide who the next president and the next government should be. Ero nombaba mbokula ukula virima. Fiatranda mchiwe mbati ba sensera liyakawa ba tapira na menshi mumuseke. Because the kwacha has been suffering for a very long time, for many years. You agree, right? It's been suffering. If what is happening to the kwacha today is as a result of the measures they have taken, ask them, why didn't they take the measures a long time ago? Why did they not take those measures? It's a simple question, right? If they say so just ask them, if you're from why did you not do it last year? Think about it. It's the same thing with the issue of the debt swap. Why did you not do it in 2016? Because the issue of public debt amongst our public service workers is a long-standing issue. Issue of nitrogen chemicals of Zambia. For the past 10 years, they have squandered $3 billion importing expensive fertilizers. Did you know that? Lero baisabula $31 million ukufuma ku IDC ati yoto abika mu NCZ. Nishidionse chira mwaka turabakonkomesha vule ntundalama $100 million. Revamp NCZ or build a new plant altogether. You can build a whole new plant if you like. If you can spend $3 billion over 10 years, surely they could have found $100 million to revamp NCZ. We produce cheaper fertilizer mchalo chesu, tuwaingishe msepele nchito. We even expand our ability to earn domestic revenue so that we can give a pay rise to our soldiers, we can give a pay rise to our teachers, our nurses. We could have done that. But we're revamping NCZ. That's crazy. Bana kumulungushi uko. Mulungushi textiles
people will tell you to say all the things the developmental achievements we are seeing now, they have been, these have been a long-term, agenda or policies. Because for them, they are saying governance is not just abracadabra and the likes.
You are an intelligent man.
Yeah.
You know the damage which the falling kwacha has done to the economy. You know the damage. You know the damage. Businesses have closed. Their businesses have closed because the kwacha was under attack for many years. So for many years, they allowed the kwacha to suffer and consequently destroy your life and my life and the lives of our children. They destroyed them. So the kwacha is performing better. That's nonsense. And I'll tell you,
appreciate that the Kwacha
and this is what I'm telling you, but innocent. Mwabena Zambia, mula iduka, mula ichenjena. These are election gimmicks.
Yeah.
These are election gimmicks. Okay?
Just like your president also did mention to say, if I form government, the very day when I'll be sworn in, 10 hours, come 14 hours, the Kwacha would have gained.
But that's a fact.
You know?
Yeah, no, but that's a fact.
That was a campaign message. Listen to me.
Yeah.
That was a campaign message or perceived as a campaign gimmick. And again, the PF is working on the Kwacha or has worked on the Kwacha.
They are not working.
Does that campaign gimmick by your president still stands? Or it's gone? You need to find another message.
No. Nakabili umfweni. You spend time listening to people who don't know how these things work. You bring a cadre here. You know, I'll mention their names. You bring back Ambwini here, or you bring back Anisha Spanda, or you bring back Nakachinda, or you bring the media director for the PF here to come and discuss economics. Fish Balaland. Fish of Balaland. They've never been to school to study these things. In England, I sat for 4 years in class understanding those things. And I'm telling you, confidence is something that you can't touch. But when investors begin getting the sense that a decent-minded president and government is about to take over leadership in a country, it inspires confidence. So they begin moving their money. By the tap of a button, they begin moving their millions of dollars into that jurisdiction, positioning themselves to take up investment opportunities. Right now, there's no investor who wants to keep money in Zambia. I can tell you that. Because they know how crooked these people are. Finoturelanda, they have taken over CEC. They have appropriated the assets of CEC by just changing the law. Assets which a private company built for many years, $500 million worth. Basenda.
What is your plan if you form government?
So the point, but
what is your plan over
to say
Will
that
you take it back?
To say that the currency is going to appreciate when new leadership comes in place. That is not a gimmick. These are things that work. They are real, but innocent. These things are real, and this is something which the Zambian people need to understand.
My question was, Kwacha has appreciated.
Yes. So
the question was, do you still maintain this message, or already you've been scooped?
No. We still maintain it.
We still
maintain it. The Kwacha is going to appreciate the moment the Zambian people change government. Because investors now will believe that you and I would have installed a decent-minded leadership with the right kind of clarity and focus to stabilize the business environment, protect your private assets, stabilize taxation policy.
Let's not lose the people. Let's not lose the people, because the Kwacha is appreciating. You were saying, your message was saying that. Let me just finish my question. You've been saying the Kwacha is skyrocketing. Reason being that the business communities they don't have confidence in the PF government. All right? And then today the Kwacha is appreciating. So does it mean that their confidence has changed from nowhere?
Okay. So
they have regained the confidence in the PF government.
So
please.
In business studies, we are taught that investors are rational beings. Okay? They're not stupid. Okay? Imwena inetudibena Zambia. Has the story about corruption changed in this country? Has it changed?
It hasn't.
Okay? It hasn't.
It's still going on.
Yes. It hasn't.
And according to, I remember even President Yaludu himself, he said, this corruption crusade now is just like a political tool, where when this person forms a political party, so the only message about corruption issues.
The point that I am making, you cannot argue that investors all of a sudden have confidence in this regime. This is a regime that has been stealing public resources for 10 years. A rational investor cannot today wake up and say, oh, great, the Zambian leadership is all trustworthy all of a sudden. Can't work. So there is something which they have done. They have poured millions of dollars onto the money exchange market, which is now supporting the Kwacha. Okay? This is money they never could have. This is money they never could have poured onto the market then. Because it was going to be swallowed anyway. Even this money is going to be swallowed eventually. It will not be sustained. But they are doing it because they know it is now crucial. You and I have an election to decide on. So, the same thing they've done now, civil servants. They created this problem for many years. They destroyed your lives. They destroyed the lives of your families, your children. Okay? So, there is nothing tangible that is going to come out of what you are seeing today, because it is all just a mirage. It's a mirage. It is something that is not there. Just now, but after the election goes, you'll be surprised.
There's actually a post coming from that's Luinda Hawazoka, one powerful economist we have in Zambia, amongst the many economists, including your leader, President Hakainde Hichilema. Yes, he is an economist, together with HH as well. According to him, he's saying it doesn't matter if this quarter is appreciating because it is a campaign period, then that's good politics, because politics is meant to improve the welfare of the people. How would you react to that?
Nakavidi, don't spend too much time listening to cadres, because they get paid to speak the way they do. These are the people who were supporting government when they were borrowing heavily. They said, no, all countries borrow. No, the Zambia's debt levels.
But I've told you, Mr. Bwalya, he's an economist, just like you yourself, and your president.
Listen.
You gave an example of Dr. Ganesha Banda, as well as Shimbakambwila, among others. All right, you said those are not economists, so they can't tell you anything. Then I've picked a name of an economist. Again, you are saying those are cadres. And if those people, they come here, they will tell you, say, you just invited a young man who is just a cadre, who is, he doesn't have any experience about governance.
By innocent. You go back to as far as 2014. Look at the records. What my position and President Hakainde Hichilema's position has been on issues of debt, in managing the kwacha, and on corruption. You go back and look at the consistency of our messaging and our stance. We don't say things because they are convenient to our agenda and the collective agenda that we share with the Zambian people. When we are propagating a message, we genuinely believe that it is the right thing. When we say that our colleagues in government needed to slow down on borrowing, we meant it, because we could see what the problems were going to be. The people who are saying they're economists, you go back and hear what they said about debt. They were wrong and were right. These are people who defend corruption. Fake report yadi fuma 2.2 billion baliva. How do you justify that the Ministry for Health in 2020 was underfunded by 2.6 billion kwacha, but in the same year 2.2 billion kwacha vaiva? How do you justify that? Because it's not convenient to their agenda. In I will come here, I will talk about corruption and how it is killing our people. I'll come here, I'll talk about debt and how it is killing our people and the economy. The same way. You can't compare the caliber of HH, the caliber of me, and those paid up economists. No, you can't. It's just wrong.
You're always on top of things. Compared to all other Zambians or other political parties.
The records are there. When you type in my name, Anthony Bwalya, debt, Anthony Bwalya government borrowing, it is consistent. We never change because it's the right thing.
What was your post, if you remember, on the appreciating the kwacha, if you remember? What was your post?
So listen, we knew always.
What was your statement?
We always knew that excessive government borrowing was always going to harm the kwacha. You know why?
I get that point.
You know why? You know why? Because for you to service public debt, you need to convert your kwacha into dollars. This government makes money, much of our revenue is earned in kwacha.
Right.
Okay, so let me finish. Let me finish. It's earned in kwacha. But in order for us to service public debt, we need to convert it into dollars. And this is why At the height of servicing our public debt, which had become sustainable, and it still is unsustainable right now, we were spending on average $200 million per month paying back debt. Do you know what they did? They stopped. You know that we don't service our public debt. That would be by innocent. So, external debt. Do you know that money is being pumped into the economy now? So, they're not paying back debt. But okay, they'll come back.
We've got 5 minutes, so
yes.
we have to go. But I ask you a question. Do you remember what your post was regarding the Kwacha appreciation?
You are a journalist. You go there. Look, these things are public.
You remember, right?
But I can tell you.
You remember your statement?
But I can tell you with confidence.
You are not answering my question.
I can tell you with confidence. You will not find anywhere where I have contradicted myself or President HH has contradicted himself on the issue of public debt, appreciation of
Was
the
your
Kwacha.
posting correlating with that of your leader, the president?
Absolutely. Always.
Okay.
Absolutely always.
What was your posting, if you remember? I want you to be very much faithful. I have known you as a very honest man.
Yeah.
I hope you can be as honest as you are going to respond to.
And again.
What was your posting?
And again, in being honest, I'm just saying these things are public records. You can go there and search. As far back
I like that because you're being very smart, and I will not take it out from you.
As far back
because
as
I want to just remind you about the contradiction that your posting was to that of Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. On the appreciation of the Kwacha.
No, but again, I've told
you. But you've refused to remind me or the people of Zambia.
No, but again, I've told you. So there has been no contradictions.
Yeah.
And I need to stress this point. Leadership that is credible impacts positively on money markets. It does. You can ask any economist anyone, you can call anyone in this world, they'll tell you. Leadership that is sensible impacts positively on money markets and the performance of your currencies. This is why, in the same way, when I believe it must have been Pravin Gordon, the then Minister for Finance in South Africa, when he was sacked by the government of Zuma, you check what happened to the rand.
Right.
You check. Okay? So when you install leadership that is credible, your currency gets impacted positively. When you install for yourselves leadership that is rogue, leadership that is corrupt, you are hurting yourselves. And this is where we are at the moment. So we are saying to the Zambian people, if you want to rebuild the economy, change government. If you want to create better jobs and better incomes for yourselves, change government. If you want to rebuild the economy so that you can pay pension benefits for those who have worked and served this country, change government. If you are a student, you want better opportunities to access higher education, be on bursary, get your meal allowances, whether you're in public or private universities, change government. Ngani mwaba marketeer, mudi market, munefu okulabumba mumutende without being harassed by cadres, change government.
I hope that will be your closing remarks.
Ngani mwe truck driver, you are being harassed by foreigners because foreigners are being prioritized for contracts. You have no job security. You get paid off the record. No pension benefits. Change government. In other words, if you are a patriot and you are a Zambian and you believe that we are supposed to be a brother's keeper to one another, we owe each other a good country, we owe our children a good country, change government. This is a Zambian election. This is not a UPND election. This is not an Hakainde Hichilema's election. This is your election. This is my election. This is our election. We must deliver it together.
Right. Allow me to appreciate you, Mr. Bwalya, for coming. We don't take our guest for granted.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. We hope to see you soon.
Yeah.
And I hope when I give you a phone call on the, let's say, on the 14th of August, I'll get a very good response about you heading to State House and not to the Concord.
Well, it's just the people themselves who can deliver that result. It's not in our hands. We have done our bit. We continue telling the people that we are ready for leadership. You and the rest of the Zambian people must go out and deliver that change of government. So we are banking on the people to go and finish the job.
Wishing you all the best.
Thank you, sir.
Right. Dear viewers, we also appreciate you for your contribution on Facebook and also your viewership, because we believe that at the end of the day you make or you build this institution and also these programs that we always have. Allow me to appreciate my camera person, Christopher. Thank you so much for that fantastic work. My producer, Mavuto Piri, we also thank you so much. Together, allow me to say, may God bless Zambia, may God bless Mother Africa. Good night.
Thank you, brother.
You're done.